Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks very much for joining us for this session today, where we're going to look at teaching Trados technology for universities and lecturers with some practical tips and demonstrations. So first of all, I'd like to hand over to our presenter today, which is Anna Maria, and she's going to take us through most of this content that we're going to look at today.
Hello, my name is Anna Maria Matefi, and I welcome you all to this webinar. I'm a Senior Customer Experience Representative at RWS Group Science 2017. I have a background in translation across Spanish, French, and Romanian languages. Sorry, and in my free time, I'm enjoying passing time with my daughter and my family and crochet toys for children. The topics of today's webinar will be how to accept the invite to the RWS Community Professors page, how to create a customer in Trados Team, how to create, edit, and delete a user in Trados Team, create a translation engine, a translation memory, a turn-based, and a workflow in Trados Team, create a translation engine with multiple language pairs, create a translation project, accept a task from Trados Team, and we will see how Language Weaver Machine Provider works in Trados Team.
Okay, so I wanted to just take you through some initial, some initial concepts about joining our program. So first of all, the professors will receive an invitation to join the RWS Community Professors page. So in there, you'll find that there's lots of useful information. It's an opportunity to join the forums where you can ask questions and follow other topics that have already been covered. Also, in there, you'll find academic guides and software guides, a lot of information about the program and how to use the software, how to find access to information about internships and other aspects of the program. So lots of resources in there for you as well. So look for an email from the RWS community sent by one of the team. From that email, then accept the invitation. And then you will also see there's an opportunity to log in or to join the community. And then once you go to the page, you'll find that you will need to log in. So go to click on the little icon at the top. If you already have an RWS community account, then you can log in, or you can just sign up. So sign up and join. And from there, from that first page of the RWS campus, if you scroll right to the bottom of the page, you'll find that there's a couple of icons, one for the professors area and one for the student. So if you click on the professors area, and that will take you to the RWS Campus Professors page where you can access all the information particular to the program and useful information for you there. So next, I'm going to hand back over to Anna Maria. Sorry, I just quickly go through the aspects of joining for the student. So from the perspective of the student, they will also have their own particular set of pages and area within the RWS community. Again, particular areas for you to ask questions and follow content that will be useful to you, how to use and activate the software, particularly Trados Studio, multi-term, the App Store and Trados Team, so how to work with that when you're given tasks by your lecturer. And the other resources that you'll get access to in there will be things like ebooks about careers, how to find out more about internships, how to get the Trados certifications that are available to you as a student. Also, how to purchase your own license if you would like to do that, because we have student pricing, which is obviously cheaper than what's available on the main website. and other webinars and videos that will be useful to you. So now I will hand over to Anna Maria. Also, just to mention that the lecturer has a responsibility to help their students to get access to the community by sending them a link and a key that will help them to connect.
So we will start the demo part with tips and tricks for this Trados team. And the first step that you will need to do will be to set up your Trados team, meaning starting to configure a customer. A customer in Trados team is more like a location where you can group within the university and can organize your school by years or subgroup or departments. This structure using the customer, it's very helpful even for students and for professors because they can only see the project and resources and tools they will need. This will keep everything neat, organized, and private. For example, for a professor, it will be easier to manage the translation projects, and the students can be sure that we'll only have access to the projects that are relevant for their classes. This term, customers, help you divide and manage your translation projects, keeping everything secure, organized, and sample for both staff and students. In this order, you can see that multiple faculties can use the same platform without any confusion. After you set up the customers, the next step that you will need to do as an administrator will be to create users in Trados Team. Everyone needs to be added as a user in Trados Team to have access. The fact that different the work is the roles and the permission that you will give to each user. You have the flexibility to create and assign any permission necessary to any user. When you will open Trados Team, you will see that you have some roles that are there by default. The important thing for you is to check the permission that each users have. You as the professor, you will be the admin and you will be able to create and manage users or any other resources in Trados Team. For example, the translation engine, translation memory, term basis, workflows, projects, all you need in order to give the work for your students. You will see that we have also the project manager user. This one can create resources in Trados Team, but cannot add users, for example. The other section or the other user will be translator, reviewer, linguist, and terminologist. This one, it will be useful to check the permission that they have because the default one for the linguist has only 7 permissions that, for example, doesn't include the possibility to create, use, or edit a translation memory or a term base. Normally, for a student, you will need to give access to them to do this stuff. So we encourage you to create a new role, a new user for you, and add the role and permissions needed. A user can have several roles and belong to several groups. A user can be added and deleted. For example, when a student finishes the studies and doesn't need to have access anymore to Trados Team, you can go on the user tab, check it and delete it. You can create as many users as you want, but you will need to know that only the licensed number of concurrent users can access the system at the same time. In the following video, you will see all these steps made one by one. In this video, I will explain how you can organize your university translation projects in Trados Language Cloud using the term customers. You are here because you enrolled your university to our RWS Campus program. In order to log in, you will use this link, languagecloud.sdl.com. And the first task that you need to do is to create your locations in Trados Language Cloud, meaning your customers. Now, don't let the word customer confuse you. Here's how it can work for you. Think of customers as a group within your university. For example, each faculty or degree program can be set up as a customer, and within that you can organize by years or group or departments. Let's say you have a Master of Arts in Translation Studies and a Bachelor of Arts in Translation and Interpretation. Each one of all these becomes its own group or customer. Inside each, you can create subgroups. For example, Intake 2023, Intake 2024, Intake 2022, and so on. You click in Customers and then New Customer. We will put the name, for example, Master of Arts in Translation Study, and the location will be Customers. And we click in Create. Our customer is created, and if I click again in Customers, we can see that now we have the customer created. Now I will click again in New Customer and add a subgroup for Intake 2023, for example. And this one, I will select location not in Customers, but in Master of Arts in Translation Studies, and click Create. Okay, after a refresh, I can see that this one is part of the Master of Arts in Translation Study customer. As you can see, I created all the subgroups and all the settings that I need for customers. This setup ensures that students and professors only see the project resources and tools they need for their specific group. It keeps everything neat, organized, and private. For professors, it's easy to manage translation projects just for their own department or year. And for students, they only access the projects that are relevant to their studies without the risk of mixing up resources from other faculties. In short, customers help you divide and manage your translation projects smoothly, keeping everything secure, organized, and simple for both staff and students. Multiple faculties can use the same platform without any confusion. After we set up the customer, the next step that we need to set up in Trados Team is the users. Here we can see that we have several tabs: the members, the groups, service users, and roles and permission. We will give an eye to this tab with role and permissions, and we can see here that we have 5 predefined roles and permissions. In the permission section, we can see several numbers. This is the number that indicate the role and permission that each role has. For example, if we see the linguist one, the user can be a translator, has only 7 permissions. If we select it and click on view, we can see what this user is able to do. He can, at the level of projects, he can view other user projects. For tasks, he can open a project in Studio or in Online Editor. And then if we go in the Resources tab, we can see that doesn't have any permission associated. For customers, nothing. For user manager, he can see the users and groups, and for interface, he can log into Trados interface and view inbox. In our case, the role is not sufficient for a translator that will be a student. So I will create a new role. And for the name, I will give translator medical field. And I will need to set up now the permissions. In project, I saw that a linguist that is a translator can view all the user projects. For task, he can open in Studio, open in online editor. For resources, I want my translator to be able to view, create, and edit a translation memory and not delete it. And the same for the turn base. I want to be able to view, create, and edit definitions. And maybe export and import. For the translation unit, same. View and import. And for customers, nothing. User manager, view groups and view users. And interface, he can view the Trados interface and view the inbox. Then we click on create. After we have the role that we want, we can add as many role and permission we need for our work. Then we will pass to the group tab, and here we have by default these 3 groups. But I want a group for my students that will work as translator in medical field. And I click in new group. I put the name, translator medical field, and the role that I just created. They will be a translator. Then the location will be Bachelor of Arts in Translation and Interpretation Intake 2024. Because I will work in this customer, and I click on create. My new group is created, and now I want to add students that will belong to this group, and they will be translators. I click on new member. I put the email address at t.com, and the location will be the same, Bachelor of Arts in Translation Interpretation, Intake 2024, and the group I select for this one, translator, medical field, and click on invite. Now I will complete the profile, put the name, okay, and save. Now my user is created, and I can see that belongs to one group. If I want this student to be able also to be a terminologist, I can select the user, click on edit, and add him to a new group, for example, project manager, and click on save. If I want to take it out from the second group, I click again in edit and delete the group that I don't want to see. The translator be able to see. I click on save. For example, when a student finishes the studies and doesn't need to have access anymore to Trados Team, I can select it and click on delete. As you can see in this tab, we have the list with the users, and also this yellow ribbon where you can see how many users are allowed in your system and how many concurrent users are currently logged in. Now we can see that we have 7 concurrent users, but no one is logged in. You can create as many users as you want. However, only the licensing number of concurrent users can access the system simultaneously. If you have a colleague, a professor that will have also a group that will work on translation, you can add him as a user, but you will need to give them admin rights because only a user with admin rights can add and manage another users. The next topic will be how to create the resources in Trados Team. We will talk about four major resources about the translation memory, the turn-based, the translation engine, and the workflow. The first two resources, the translation memory and the turn-based, are the same as for Trados Studio desktop version. You will see that for both we will have a descriptive name. This is a common for both, and the same location, the same customer will need to be selected for them. The difference here is that in case of the translation memory, we can create multiple language pairs in Trados Team. This function is not possible in Trados Studio desktop version. The same, the turn-based can have multiple languages without being divided in different locales. Both translation memory and turn-based can be created from scratch, and you must know that the turn-based cannot be populated during the translation process, as this can be done in the desktop version. In Trados Team, you will need to complete the terms before starting the translation process, or you can import the content from Trados Studio or from a dictionary that you will have on the PC. For the translation memory, you can import the same from an SDLTM format, or you can migrate a translation memory on the cloud from Trados Studio desktop version. The translation engine is a term, a function proper to Trados Team, and is a container that can include various linguistic resources, one or more translation memory, machine translation engine, and turn bases. This will also have the same language pair as the translation memory that we will use, and the same location as the resources. The workflow, that is a sequence of automated and manual tasks through which the document for translation will move as you work on them, will have also a name and the same language pair as the translation memory, and will be saved at the same as all the resources used. You need to know that all manual tasks need to be assigned at least to one user. You will see this on the next video. I will show you how to create a translation engine, a translation memory, a turn-based, and a workflow in Trados Team. The first step is to create a translation memory. In this example, we will create an empty translation memory, which will be populated during the process of translation. A translation memory is a database that stores all your source target segments pair in a central repository. For create a translation memory, you need to select from the main menu the tab Resources, then Linguistic Resources, then Translation Memory. Now we click on New Translation Memory on the right-hand side. Here we will add a name. We recommend that you enter a descriptive translation memory name, ideally one that reflects the language pair and possibly the subject matter, such as medical translation memory, English, French in our case. This will help you to identify the translation memory among other you create later. For the location, we will select the Bachelor of Arts in Translation and Interpretation Intake 2024. For the languages, we select the source language, in our case English, United Kingdom, and for the target, we choose French, France. We can see that in Trados Team, we can have multiple language pairs. This function is not available on Trados Studio There, for each translation memory, you can only have one source and one target. For the language processing rules and fields template drop-down list, we will leave the default item selected. Then we click on Create. And we can see that our TM is created. We will see the TM name, the language pair, the location as well as the number of units. This unit count is currently 0 because the TM that we created is empty, but it will be populated as we translate the first document, and the number of units will be updated in real time. Here we can see another TM that I created that can have 3 or several language pairs as you want. A TM can be also populated by importing an SDL TM from Trados Studio or from your PC, but you can also use a translation memory that is directly imported to the cloud from Trados Studio desktop version. Now we will pass at the turn-based creation. A turn-based is like an electronic dictionary that is searched automatically during translation. For that, we click on Resources, Linguistic Resources, Turn-bases. Then we click on the right-hand side, New Turn-base, and we add the name, Medical Turn-base. For description is not mandatory to have anything, but the location will be the same as for our translation memory. We click on Next. Here we leave the option create a new translation from scratch selected, and we click again in Next. For the language list, we select English, French, Italian, and Spanish, for example. Note that the languages in a turn base are not divided into different locales as they are on a translation memory. Note that a turn base can contain multiple languages as well as additional fields as a definition, notes, context, and grammar. In our case, we will leave it like a simple structure, and we click on Create. Like the translation memory, our newly created turn base is empty. You can see 0 entries. While the translation memories are populated interactively during translation, the turn base is not. Note that adding turns during translation in the way that you can do it in Trados Studio, the desktop version, is not currently possible in the web version. So if you want to have the use of a turn base in Trados Team, you need to populate the turn base before starting the translation process. So you can do it manually by adding turns here in Trados Team. For that, we select the turn base name. We click to open it. Here we locate the icon for new entry and we click on it. And for example, for English, we add the turn doctor. Then we confirm it with this button. Then for French, we add the corresponding turn. Again, the confirmation function. Then we can add the other languages to add the turn. Confirm. And for Spanish, and confirm. Now, if I want, I can repeat the steps for another turns and for all the languages that the turn base has. If I finish the work with the turn base, I can close it. And if I do here a refresh, I will see that my turn base has now one entry. You can also import content to a turn base from Trados Studio or from your PC if you have a dictionary completed there. To be able to use the translation memory and the turn base that we just created, we need to add them to what is called a translation engine. A translation engine is a container that can include various linguistic resources, one or more translation memories, machine translation engines, and turn bases. To create a translation engine, we click on Resources, Linguistic Resources, Translation Engines. Here we can see that we have one for multiple language pairs, because here in Trados Team is possible. And now we will create one for our resources with the language pair English-French. We click on New Translation Engine. We put the name, Medical Translation Engine. The location will be the same as our resources. The language processing rules, we will leave the default one. And for languages, we need to have the same language as the one that we have in the translation memory. Here, English, United Kingdom, French, France. And then we scroll down to the translation memory. Here we click on Add Translation Memory. Normally here we will see all the translation memories that have the same language pairs that we choose for our translation engine. But in our case we have only one, and we select it and click on Add. We will skip the machine translation part and we go to turn bases. Click on Add Turn Bases and select our created medical turn base and choose Add. Now we click on Create to create our translation engine. Now our translation engine is created. Another resource that we need to set up is the workflow. In Resources, we click on Workflow and choose Workflow. Each project requires a workflow, which is a sequence of automated and manual tasks through which the document for translation move as you work on them. We click on New Workflow. We give the name Medical Workflow. The location is the same as our resources, and also the language pair need to match. So we choose English, United Kingdom, and French, France. Okay. Then for the workflow template, we leave as standard translation and review. And we scroll down to the section of automated and manual tasks. The automated tasks are marked as automated on the right-hand side, and the manual tasks are marked as human. The attention that we need to give is the one for human tasks, where we need to assign at least one user in order to have our workflow work. So tasks like file detection and file format conversion are automated. Engineering is a human task, but this is excluded by default, as this is a task to be done outside Trados Team, which involves preparatory work on a file before it is converted into a translation document, a bilingual format, such as when we need to have untranslatable strings in the source file moved out before it goes into translation. Then we have an automated test such as machine translation and TM matches. If matches are found in translation memory, they will be inserted into the document during the file preparation. Although in our case the TM is still empty, so no matches will be found. The files will then be submitted to a machine translation. This means that any content that has not been pre-translated by the translation memory will be handed over to a machine translation system. However, since we did not add a machine translation provider to our translation engine, in this case nothing will happen on this step. Next comes the automated analysis step. The project will be scoped, meaning that the total number of words and characters as well as reuse notes and other calculations are made. Next, we have a project planning step, which is a manual task. This involves project coordination, that is to say, someone deciding who is going to do the translation and the review task and by when. Now we need to click here, select an assignee. We'll put, for example, this one. Then for translation, we assign the user here. The same for the linguistic review. Okay. Then we have two automated steps. The TM is updated using the final reviewed content and the bilingual intermediary format used by Trados for translation is converted back to the original format, such as Microsoft Office, XML, or Adobe InDesign. The final step check can be excluded to keep the workflow simple for this example, but you need to know that this step is used for taking a final look at the target files outside Trados Team before they are delivered to the customer. The last step, name error, is mandatory and cannot be excluded. This step needs to be assigned to at least one user and is required to make sure that if something goes wrong, for example, a source file is corrupted and cannot be converted by the system, the responsible person is automatically prompted up and can intervene. If we click create, we will create our workflow. I forget to assign some tasks. So I will go back to final. Here I put myself, then the same. And for the error task again. And we click on create. Now our workflow for medical field is created. For you a special function of Trados Team, meaning that here a translation memory and a translation engine can have multiple language pairs. This function is not available on Trados Studio, where for each translation memory you can only have one source and one target language. So we go in resources, linguistic resources, translation memory, new translation memory. We put the name music, for example. Then the location will be playground in this case, and I will choose a source language, English. United Kingdom in this case, to French, France.
and click on plus. Then we select another language pair, French to Spanish, and plus to edit, and one more, for example, from Spanish to Italian. Italy, and we click on plus. For language processing rule and field templates, we will leave the default one and we click on create. Now our translation memory is created. And we can see here on the translation memory list that we have 3 language pairs for our music translation memory. Now we go to create a new turn base with the same name, same location, and same languages. Okay, next, create from scratch. We go and add our 4 languages, English, then we add French, then Spanish, and Italian. We click on next. Here we leave it by default and create. Now our turn-based music is created. We go in resources, linguistic resources, and translation engine to create a translation engine with multiple language pairs. We'll give the name music, the location will be playground, the language processing rule by default, and we select the language pairs. So English, the same as the ones from the translation memory, English, United Kingdom, French, France, add, then we select French, France to Spanish, and edit, and then Spanish and Italian, Italian. Okay, plus then we go to add a translation memory, the one that we created with several language pair. As you can see, is the only one proposed because it's the only one that corresponds to our translation engine language pairs, and click on add. Then we scroll down and go to the turn bases and add my turn base, add turn bases, and then we go to create the translation engine. During the translation process, we will see how to use this translation engine with multiple language files.
After you created all those resources in Trados Team, we can go to the next step and create a project. Here you can see the 2 screens, the 2 project windows that we have in our 2 programs. The first one is from Trados Studio desktop version. Here you can see that all the process is detailed by resources. For example, here you will need to put separately the translation memory, the turn base, the bash text, and so on. But in Trados Team, as we have the function of the translation engine and the workflow, this will be done only in 2 steps. After we create a translation project, you will see in the next slide how to accept a task from Trados Team. In Trados Team, all work or through the accepting a task. So when a project is created, you will receive an email that will inform you that a new task is available. This can be seen in the email or directly in Trados Team on the section inbox. You will see that on the email, you have the details about the task and the fact that you need to click on the word here to accept the task directly from the email, and this will go you to log into Trados Team, and you will be on the inbox ribbon. There you have 3 sections. The first one is where are all the tasks that you didn't accept yet. After you accept the task, the task will be transferred to the accept task section, and then you will be able to select the project and choose how to open it. You will be able to open it in online editor, that is the workspace from Trados Team, or you can open it in Trados Studio and work on it on the desktop version. You will see all this detailed in the next video.
After we created the resources, we can pass to the creation of a translation project. We click on the menu on projects and then new project. Here we will give the name for our project. The description is not mandatory. We select the location, the same as for our resources in Tech 2024. For source language, we will choose English United Kingdom, and for target, we choose French France. In this video, we will use only one target language, even if a project can have multiple target languages, but only one source language. We scroll down and we can see that we have automatically proposed the due date and time. We can leave it like this or change as we need. For file type configuration, we will leave the default one. And we pass for browsing the PC for our document to translate. This will be a docx file in a translatable usage. We click on next. And here we have the translation engine section. Our medical translation engine is recognized because it has the same source and target languages. And here we can add more resources or delete ones if you want. We click on next because we don't need to do any changes and select the workflow that we previously created. We scroll down and we don't modify anything and click on create and start. The system will now automatically prepare the project for translation, and you will also receive a notification by email that a new project has been created. As you can see, medical project has been created. If we go back on our web browser and we click on the project that we created, we can see here displayed some statistics, such as total number of words, characters, and segments. You also can see if some roads are pre-translated, but in our case, this part is not achieved because our translation memory is empty and because we didn't add machine translation provider to our translation engine. Once a document is ready for translation, you will receive an email that informs you that a new translation task is assigned to you. As you can see in this email, I received the notification email. In the email, we have also some information about the task, such as the name of the project, the file, the language pair, and the word count. You will also have the sentence, click here to view the task in your inbox. If you are logged in Trados Team, as I am now, you can see that you have the inbox tab. You click here and you see 3 new subtabs. Here in new, you have all the projects and tasks that are not accepted yet. On the active tab, you will have all the tasks accepted, and in completed, all the tasks completed by you. We go back to the new and we select the name of our task and click on accept. You will be prompted to reconfirm whether you really want to accept this task, and we will click on accept. Now we will pass to active, and we see that our task is already here on active task. If we select our task for translation, we can see that we have two possibilities. To open the translation document in Studio, this meaning the Trados Studio desktop version, or to open it in Online Editor, that is the version of Trados Team. In this example, we will open the document for translation in Online Editor, and we will see how it's look like. Okay, we will skip. Here we can see our source part and our target part. Our target part is empty because our translation engine has a translation memory with no units, and because we didn't add a machine translation provider to our translation engine.
The last topic for today is how Language Weaver provider works in Trados Team. Language Weaver is the machine translation provider created by RWS. If we add a machine translation model to our translation engine, the machine translation task from the workflow will be performed on all the segments which no translation memory match could be found. This means that any segment with no exact or fuzzy match in the translation memory will be pre-populated from the machine translation. In this case, we can post-edit the machine translation file. Let's see how this works. You must know that for each academic partner, we have this plan with 60 million characters by year, 5 adaptive LPS, 50 users, and 50 dictionaries.
In this video, we want to demonstrate how Trados Team works with machine translation. We will create a new project by completing all the mandatory fields. And here we put the name, machine translation demo. The location will be the same as our resources. Language source, language English, target language French. For due date and time, we leave it like proposed. File type configuration, the default one. And we go to add the document for translation. Open, and then we go next to translation engine page. And here we will scroll down to machine translation section and click add machine translation model. Here we have the provider used by RWS Language Weaver. We select the first one and click on add. Now we can see that we have Language Weaver added to our translation engine, and we go next for the workflow and click and start for creating our translation project. Now we can see on the list that our project is created. If I go on my inbox as a translator in the new section, I can see that I have the task name translation for the project machine translation demo. I click on it and accept. I accepted the translation work. And now I select this project. In order to open it, I can open it in Trados Studio or in Online Editor. And in this case, I will open it in Online Editor to see how the machine translation provider worked. As we have a machine translation provider, the task will be prompted on all the segments for which no TM matches could be found. This means that any segment that do not have an exact or a fuzzy match in the translation memory will be pre-populated with a machine translation. In our case, the translation memory is still empty, so the machine translation should translate all the document. We click on Open, and we can see that all our segments are translated by the machine translation. We can do an editing task for this machine translated file.
So thanks everyone for joining us for these demonstrations and explanations. Thanks very much, Anna Maria, for all of that good information. So now's an opportunity to ask questions. Sorry, we've got a few minutes, only a few minutes left. It's taken to nearly the hour, but I have got a couple of questions that have come in. So thank you for asking. So one is, how do I get the invitation to Trados Team as a professor? So that should really come from talking to us and making sure that you're connected to your professors group in the community, and then obviously let us know, and you'll get connected for your license to Trados Team. So if you email us education@rws.com, then we'll make sure that obviously if you're a member of the RWS Campus program, then the licenses will get allocated to you. Just ask, a couple of people are asking about the presentation. So this has been recorded. So when you get your follow-up email, you will get a recording of this session, and we will also make all of the demonstrations available that you've seen today available in the RWS Campus Community. So you'll be able to view them there. They will be there by in the next few days. As well as this recording for this session, so that you can see the individual videos for the particular topics that we've covered today. Yeah, and the slides actually. Yeah, somebody's just said about the slides, so we'll make these slides available also. Okay, somebody's also asking about the Trados certifications and whether there's any news on those issues. So Anna Maria, do you know anything about that, the availability?
For the moment, they inform us they are still working to find the solution, and we can offer you the enroll to the RWS University platform, where the students can take the exams for Trados 2022 level 1, 2, and 3. And
okay.
After the problem will be solved, all the passed exams will be reflected in the individual RWS accounts for each student.
Cool, thanks, Anna Maria. So somebody's asking, why is the management more complicated than the desktop version? So I suppose my answer to that would be that you have much more of an ability to set a whole raft of tasks all in one go for a whole range of different roles, as we saw. So you could project manager, different type of translator, different types of language combinations in Trados Team. So there's much more functionality that's at your fingertips and different resources that you can attach. It depends a little bit on how much complexity you want to add to your tasks. So really, it doesn't have to be complicated. We just wanted to give you the ability to see all the various functionality that you can use in Trados Team. You can keep it really simple as well. Okay, so a couple of people are asking about terminology, actually, specifically. So Anna Maria mentioned that you you know, it's not quite the same in the Trados team or the cloud version working with terminology as it is in Trados Studio. So in Trados Studio, you have the ability to work directly with multi-term, which is not quite the same in the cloud in Trados team. So simply what you'd need to do really is just to think ahead about terminology and either import your term base, which you can do, or create your term base from scratch in the cloud. So that's really the difference, I think. Is that correct, Anna Maria?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All the words and need to be added in the turn base before starting the translation. Because for the moment, during the translation process, the words cannot be added to the turn base as in Trados Studio.
Yeah, okay, good,
so
thank
you can upload the turn base from the desktop version on the cloud, and you can use it from there directly.
Cool. Somebody's asking, thank you for the question, asking about a certification for trainers. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So as far as I'm aware, we don't have Trados certifications or RWS certifications for trainers specifically in technology topics, but there is a training. Obviously, you can qualify as a Trados trainer, which is a bit of a different process. So that would be handled by our training department. So I think, I'm not sure, I think what you're probably asking is there a qualification to take so that you can, you know, be qualified as a lecturer or a trainer in the academic environment, and that doesn't really exist at the moment. Yeah, so as I say, there is a professional training qualification you can, or certification you can go through as a trainer of Trados, but not specifically for academic at the moment. But I do recommend the Trados certifications in terms of learning the technologies. Really, really helpful. I'm not a translator, but I used the certifications to learn about how to use the products, and they are really thorough and really good, and a very helpful tool for learning, particularly for students as they're going through this process. Okay, thanks so much, everyone. We've gone slightly over the time. Thank you very much, Anna Maria, for
Thank you
your
too, Fiona.
delivery today. And thanks, everyone. And we will see you in our RWS Campus Community. Do get in touch there if you need anything. And thanks so much for joining us and sticking with us in this session today.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.